Hey everyone, just wanted to come to you to have a little discussion today about kind of living in a virtual world and having some virtual connections versus real life or face-to-face connections. Been talking to a lot of pastors and church members who are anxiously wondering what new normal is going to look like and trying to figure out how do we start regathering appropriately and in healthy ways and in ways that meet the needs of folks. Who want and need that face-to-face interaction, as well as how do we continue to minister to folks who might need to stay home a little longer or who might not ever feel comfortable coming into a church setting. Maybe they've not been a part of that, but they've started watching a church online. And so a lot of questions to think about that. And it really got me thinking about all of the changes that I've seen happen during COVID-19 and certainly things like having all of the churches that I know become online virtual churches overnight when they were shut down or not asked to not meet, and, and also began to think about things like how many doctor's appointments have been had now using telehealth and how many counseling appointments are being had on Zoom kind of formats and interactions, and certainly the number of meetings. Last Tuesday, I had 7 Zoom calls in the day into 1 day period. That was a record for me, and doing a whole lot of that. We just registered our son for classes at Bridge Valley Community College, and they are choosing to be all online next fall. And I know other schools are wrestling with that. I know it's been interesting for me to kind of dive a little bit more into some of the online training opportunities during this time. Been spending a lot of time looking at YouTube videos and creating and how to create creative content and those type things. And a lot of those are dealing with online virtual opportunities as well. So want to share with you just some thoughts about that and ask some questions. My hope is that this video will be something that you will comment on and answer the questions as we go through some of those, and that you'll share that discussion and we can continue to have online dialogue, not only through this particular video, but through Facebook or through email as well. Would love to just hear your thoughts. So was exposed since COVID-19 started, got exposed to an online platform real estate agency called EXP. I've always loved real estate and have been studying real estate and taking some classes, and not to the point yet of being licensed or anything like that, but just began to explore kind of what's out there, and was told about a brokerage called EXP Realty, and it's been interesting to me to get to know a little bit about them. They do everything on the cloud. They've actually created their own virtual cloud world where they meet clients and sign papers together and interact and negotiate together. There are ways to deal with mortgage insurance and homeowners insurance, and all of that can be done in the virtual world that they've created. You actually create a little avatar, which everybody on Facebook seems to be doing, and you use that avatar to navigate their virtual online world. And it was fascinating for me to explore that a little bit and to look at that and to really think about some of the implications of that for us who are more used to living in a bricks and mortar kind of place, and having church be together and being in a building. And if we've all had to adapt and learn over the last several weeks now, going on 2 months, 2.5 months of not being able to be in church together with the majority of our congregations, and what that looks like. And so I began to think about that those concepts of what could church look like, how what are some of the things maybe that aren't going to return to what we once thought were normal. I do believe that we're going to get back to a sense of normal in our world, and certainly there will be changes, obviously, but I do believe that the best thing for us is to be in church together regularly, and to build relationships and connections, and be able to work through life together, and spend time together and support one another and encourage one another. And that's certainly the longing of my heart. I don't know how quickly that will happen. I do know that some people are more ready for that, and others are more ready to give it more time. And so I don't know that there's a right or wrong answer in all of that, but it does make me think about, what are some of the potential ministry opportunities that we might have, um, to reach some folks more in the online or virtual world, because I believe we've certainly seen at Tays Valley Church of God an increase in the number of people watching our online services, and particularly an increase in people who are first-time watchers who aren't connected to our church, who aren't Facebook friends, or haven't even liked our page yet on Facebook. And we're seeing every week we see a growing number of people being invited through our members sharing the Facebook stream, and so we're meeting new people online and connecting to them. And some of them live close to us, and maybe when all this is over and they feel comfortable, maybe they'll make their way into the church house. We would love to have that happen and see them and get to know them and build a relationship with them. But many of them live other places or live in places where they haven't found a church to connect to. And so, we have to figure out, I think, as leaders and as pastors, what are we going to do to kind of reach these folks and help them create a sense of community where they are, help them to feel a sense of connection to not only the body of Christ and to Christ, but to each other and to their community. And that's an important part of why I wanted to start this YouTube channel, is to figure out ways to create community across a lot of communities that I get to interact with, whether it's a church or a series of churches that I get to coach pastors, or it's people living in the business world or the real estate world that I'm interested in as well, and have a joy for learning more about. So some of the questions I'd like for you to answer today, and the first one is just, how are you living online more? So what are you doing more of online now that is different for you? Some answers obviously might be that you're worshiping online more, or you're giving online more to various bill paying kind of things, or just your finances are more online than they were perhaps before this, doctor's visits, those kinds of things. So what are you experiencing that you're doing more of online than maybe you were before COVID-19? That's the first question. I'd love to get some discussion going on. The second one I would like to maybe delve into a little bit with each of you is, what are some of the changes that we've seen over the last 2-3 months that you think may become more permanent changes, that maybe aren't going to go back to the way they were? I think there's good changes that are happening, and some negative changes probably that are happening, and would love to hear your feedback on all of that. Kind of what do you see that may not ever come back to what it used to be? I think we're seeing obviously some economic impacts. Read an article today that someone posted about the Golden Corral companies perhaps not making a comeback after all of this, and other restaurants and many businesses that aren't going to be around. It made me think of times like, when I grew up, Blockbuster Video was huge and was a very profitable company for a long time. And all of us knew, and used Blockbuster to go get entertainment. And then along came Netflix, and suddenly Blockbuster was not seen as a viable business anymore. And very quickly, in a relatively short amount of time, all the blockbusters were gone. And so I wonder what that impact is going to be, and how do we, as the church, and how do we as leaders in business and industry, how do we adapt to some of that? What are your thoughts on what we might need to do to continue to be able to connect to people in the online world as well as in the real world? So those are a couple of the main questions I wanted to do. Also would love to hear from you, kind of how you are staying connected and grounded to people in person, and how difficult that has been for you. I know talking to some folks, it's very difficult. They feel very alone. So what are you doing that's creative, that helps you to stay connected to other people and helps you to have some conversation, whether that's on the phone or on Facebook Messenger or actually face to face, And as you get more comfortable doing that, would love to just hear how you're engaging in your communities as well. So I hope that this at least provokes you to maybe think about things in terms of your own life, and in terms of the arenas where you're connected and where you maybe lead or volunteer or serve, and begin to think about what are some of the opportunities for new connections that are coming out of COVID-19, um, and how will that be different? You know, a big part of my world is I love to connect to people. I love to see people face to face and give a big hug and a handshake, and to have great conversation, whether that's over sports and basketball, or deep theology, or business practices, or whatever. I love to engage with people, and so I'm trying to find new ways to do that through the online world a little bit, and that's what, in part, what this YouTube channel is all about. So anyways, if you like our video, or if it adds some value to you, give us a thumbs up. Or if you have not subscribed yet, would love to have you subscribe so we can keep ongoing conversations about connecting and community, and just all the various platforms that we get to serve and connect through. Would love to continue to build this channel as an avenue for some of that. So if you were blessed, again, give us a thumbs up. If you would like to keep up with our videos, you can subscribe as well. In the notes below, you'll see also my website, my email address, and my cell number. Would love to continue the conversation with you as well. This video will be shared on Facebook and in LinkedIn, and would love to connect with you in those platforms as well. So I hope you're doing well during this time. I hope you are staying connected. Hope you're finding ways to build community even through a difficult time. And I look forward to some dialogue with you. Please, please, please give me some dialogue. Let me know how this video helps you, but more importantly, answer those questions so that I can kind of get some feedback as far as direction that you might want to go with some of this. And also for our churches and the organizations that I'm a part of, how we might be able to think differently about this. And this is critical thinking stuff that we really need to be aware of. So look forward to further dialogue, and hope to stay connected on a deeper level. Take care, and God bless.